Hey everybody, Atlas here. Last week we talked about the assassination of the CEO of United Health, Brian Thompson. Shortly after that, a 26-year-old man by the name of Luigi Mangione was arrested at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, after some sort of, upstanding citizen supposedly recognized him. I mean, to be fair, how could you not recognize that glowing face? He was arrested with a couple of fake IDs on him, including one with the same name as the shooter used to check out his hotel, as well as a ghost gun and a manifesto. I'm really so glad that, this criminal has been put in jail and he's finally off the streets. I can sleep a lot safer knowing that the people denying my health insurance are sleeping safely. Obviously, this has been news for a couple of days now, but as the week has gone on, we've gotten a lot more information about Mangione, including the entirety of his manifesto, despite the media's best attempts to conceal it. So today we're going to talk all about Luigi Mangione and what may have led to his radicalization. But first, I just wanted to briefly thank all of you so much for your support recently. This channel has actually doubled in size over the past week. And I am so incredibly grateful for your support. You guys are fantastic. Anyway, let's start with how he was apprehended. Before Luigi's arrest, NYPD had really only managed to trace the shooter to the Port Authority bus terminal. They didn't see him leave on CCTV, so they concluded that he had gotten on a bus out of New York City. And they really couldn't track him any further. Really putting those billions of dollars to work, aren't we, NYPD? Fast forward a couple of days, and Luigi Mangione gets off a bus and stops at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. That's when some shithead McDonald's employee snitches on his ass. Except they didn't even do it correctly, so they might not even get the reward money for turning him in. It doesn't pay to be a class traitor, folks. No, no, no. Anyways, Luigi should have been boycotting, man. BDS saves lives. And apparently not just Palestinian ones. So, who exactly is Luigi Mangione? Well, I think the first place we ought to look in order to answer that question is his manifesto. Now, keep in mind that the media tried to cover up the contents of this manifesto for days. The only reason we got a hold of it is because someone leaked the manifesto to an independent journalist by the name of Ken Klippenstein. To the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. Plenty of people have joked about that first sentence, like the feds wanted to gas themselves up as they wrote this fake manifesto, but honestly that first sentence makes complete and total sense once you understand that there is just no rhyme or reason to the average American's politics. I mean, the police still retain some public support, whereas just about everyone in the country has had a negative experience with an insurance provider. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. This was fairly trivial, some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, a lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists that illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. He goes on to talk about how he worked alone and he used his background in engineering to help him print the gun. If you remember, during the shooting itself, there was a lot of gun jamming, and that would make sense if the silencer was 3D printed. I do apologize for any strife or trauma, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites had it coming. Obviously, I don't condone any acts of violence, but in a sense, he's not exactly wrong here. I mean, the UHC CEO shooter and Brian Thompson are both killers. The difference is that one is a killer protected by the American legal system, and the other is a killer condemned by the American legal system. And that's because American institutions exist to serve the interests of capital. That's why people like Kyle Rittenhouse and Daniel Penny get to walk free, while Luigi Mangione is sitting in a cell right now. The system doesn't care about protecting the homeless or peaceful protesters, but they care about protecting healthcare CEOs. That's why the establishment universally condemns Luigi Mangione and anyone who might cheer him on. but flies out people like Kyle Rittenhouse and Daniel Penny to see the president-elect. So when these healthcare CEOs are allowed to kill thousands of people with impunity each and every year, and as the material conditions of the 99% continue to worsen year after year, of course the general public is going to harbor resentment towards these CEOs. And here's the thing. You don't even need to be class conscious to understand that the CEOs doing this are horrible, awful people. Even if you're a die-hard capitalist, you can understand that being so ridiculously wealthy, yet choosing to let thousands of people die each year just so your stock prices can grow a few percentage points is demonic behavior. A reminder, the US has the first most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank roughly number 42 in life expectancy. United is the fourth largest company in the US by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, and Walmart. It has grown and grown, but as our life expectancy? And all of those statistics are correct, by the way. No, the reality is these, indecipherable, have simply gotten too powerful and they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. He's right. Obviously, of course, it's a little bit more complicated than that. It's the result of decades upon decades of constant propaganda, along with the deliberate designing of our society to crush our sense of community as well as our organizational capabilities, and just a pure lack of education overall. I mean, the weaponization of propaganda and mass ignorance is what allowed this exploitation to continue for so long. And the only remedy for it is widespread class consciousness. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have the space, and frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument. But many have illuminated the corruption and greed, e.g., Rosenthal Moore, decades ago, and the problems simply remain. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I am the first to face it with such brutal honesty. Anyway, after reading through this manifesto, it's pretty clear why the media tried to keep it under wraps. It doesn't exactly read like the Unabomber manifesto. It just kind of reads like the manifesto of someone who's obviously fed up with the greed of these healthcare CEOs, who's obviously done some reading on it too. Probably a little too humanizing for the narrative the mainstream media is trying to sell here. Now, if the first sentence of that manifesto didn't make it clear enough, Luigi Mangione is definitely not some sort of leftist, or even a liberal for that matter. I mean, we probably should have known from the fact that he actually did something instead of just tweeting about it. But yeah, he graduated from his high school as a valedictorian, went to the University of Pennsylvania, graduated with a master's degree in computer science. Obviously a pretty intelligent guy. But yeah, after a dig through his Twitter profile, I would say his politics are best described as interesting.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
I guess he's like some kind of center-right tech bro. I mean, he's retweeted stuff about the woke mind virus and overpopulation. He's talked about returning to traditional values and stuff like that. And all that stuff is very much in the realm of right-wing talking points. But he also retweets some stuff about climate change and advancements in environmental sustainability and stuff, so it's kind of a mixed bag. But to be honest, his politics don't matter. I mean, you don't have to be some sort of Marxist-Leninist to be fucked over by the healthcare industry. It's a pretty universal experience. And just like so many other Americans, Luigi Mangione is a victim of these disgusting healthcare companies. Now, looking at his Twitter banner, we see Breloom and also those abs. God damn, Luigi. But we also see this x-ray of his back surgery, which probably played a massive role in radicalizing him. People who knew Luigi talked about how much that surgery completely devastated him. He has made several replies on Reddit that help shed light on how he got to this point. It's horrible, frankly, and I mean, personally, I think that the story of Luigi Mangione is a heartbreaking one. No one's life deserves to be ripped away from them because what? Giving them the proper care they need wasn't profitable enough? It's so obvious how, talented he is and how much of a profound impact he's had on the people in his life. But even if that wasn't the case, he's a human being just like everyone else. The impact of these injuries seemed to send him into a mental health spiral. He stopped contacting his family and friends, and a few months later, the CEO of United Healthcare is shot And now Luigi's sitting in a jail cell. For what? For fighting back against the abuse of these greedy companies the only way he knew how? I mean, it's fucking infuriating. Meanwhile, Brian Thompson, who has the blood of thousands of people on his hands, gets to be remembered as a hero by our institutions and the mainstream media. How much more dystopian can this shit get? Anyway, thank you all so much for watching today's video. I thank you all so much for all the massive influx of support I've gotten over the past week, and for those of you who have continued to support me all these years, it really means everything to me. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.